It'd be great. Welcome to Broom Talk, the podcast where witches, healers, and magic makers gather to share their journeys, their magic, and their truths. I'm your host, Priestess Mellisa of Enchanted Dragonfly, inviting you to take a seat at the Broom Circle because the real magic is in the stories we tell. So let's stir the cauldron and speak the spell. So I have another magical being with me today. So tell us your name and your business name.
So my name is Alexandra Dallos, but I go by Alex, and my business name is EtheraWorks, and the division of it's healing. So you can find me EtheraWorks Healing. I mean, healing studio, but you can find me under EtheraWorks.
Nice. Awesome. And could you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So, yes. So right now, because it's always evolving, so I do Shamanic Reiki. I'm a Shamanic Reiki master. So I've kind of evolved. I've had, teachers under like the Cherokee medicine. So I've followed someone who followed a Cherokee medicine man for 7 years. And she happens to be in Massachusetts and taught a lot of the courses like in the local area, like Rapalu and these areas. He's down in, Arkansas. And so she's kind of, handing over the, whatever you want to call it, the feather, maybe not the baton, to kind of teach people before she retires, because Jim Pathfinder Ewing, who was the original, writer of this Cherokee Shamanic Reiki, so he put it, pen to paper, because a lot of the Cherokee medicine is oral, right? in oral tradition. So he was one of those who put it down, like in books and writing. And so Grace, my teacher, followed him, and so it was kind of a year journey. And then I also kind of added on some wisdom from the Quechuan and Siberian. I have another teacher who also does this Shamanic Reiki Worldwide. She's the founder of that, and she's based out of Western Mass. So kind of mixing all these different indigenous cultures. I think every culture had a shaman. So I think my focus here is bringing the medicine to the people. So when I talk about Shamanic Reiki, it's using the earth elements. So I do some stone medicine. So if like you come in for like Reiki, it's like the energy healing, can be hands on or just symbols, but also using stones and flowers and things like that. Awesome. Earth elements, little helpers to help the energetic body. So that's my main focus. And then the other thing I do, which is kind of separate, I do hypnosis, hypnotherapy, past life regression. Oh. And I follow some different paths, but the main one I do is called QHHT. So it's Dolores Cannon, her method. So I also have the kind of regression hypnotherapy that I offer.
That's pretty cool.
So, and I do go out and do events too. So I do like, equinoxes, solstices, and I like to have partners in that. So sometimes it's wisdom, sometimes I'll do it with like sound medicine, because I do use Tibetan instruments, my Tibetan drum, sound bowls, but I also sometimes bring in like a yoga teacher, and we've done like, shaman yoga, just bringing energy medicine into journey and maybe movement. So I try to have bring the modern in with the old, and I think whatever speaks to people, to like bring it available, like that people find it digestible, kind of the woo stuff to the masses, because I think people really need that.
Yeah, and I find there's a lot of lack of education on things, so it goes right to automatically being categorized as woo-woo.
Yeah, it's what is that? What would that might not be for me.
Yeah.
Because people may think it's not accessible. But if you go around, I mean, even if you take a hike in the woods, like all that medicine is accessible, even just being amongst the trees. So it's just bringing, kind of that, medicine, whatever you want to call it, to people.
Yeah. Nice. That's pretty cool. And could you tell us where your business is located?
It's located in North Grafton. So on North Main Street. So you can find me. I have a physical location there.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So I do in person. So I think some of the medicine I offer, of the Reiki and some of the, the plant and flower. I mean, I could do distance healings too, but those are very intentional. So I kind of prefer the in person. But if somebody needed something, a distance healing, then they can send me those artifacts and I can provide that too.
It's just not the same if it's not in person.
I find that people now, they're going back to like in person. I feel like people, I mean, it's great to connect, I think, on the, through the, the web, or you can, all these classes that you can take. But I think sometimes people really feel like they need to connect with, other people's energy.
Yeah. It's very true. Yeah. How did you start doing what you do?
Oh boy, I'll try to keep that. I'll try to keep that as concise as possible. So for 20 some years, I actually worked in the corporate IT, like in information technology, but in corporates. So I was kind of doing that typical 9 to 5, well, sometimes more than 9 to 5 job. Working, mostly in the Boston area, or doing, working for global companies, and doing like large like projects and implementing so this is like big technology. So very involved in basically consuming a lot of my time. So mind space, head space, everything. So this is kind of a job that's all consuming. It's not, so I was kind of not even in this space. And I wouldn't say that it hasn't been with me, because as a child, I was also like always going to nature. I was very into like going to the woods. I'd always be on my bike going to like some spot in nature. And I think, as we become adults, or like, you get maybe even disconnected from nature. I spend a lot of time in cities traveling for work, because a lot of times my work through the years required me to travel. So that's why I said it was all consuming. So fast forward to around 2023, you think you can escape, the getting connected, again. And maybe you find some, I found maybe comfort, or like, if you're just in the kind of, however you want to call it, the matrix or something, just doing your job, doing your daily living, just worried about like, what you have to worry about. I started getting actually more connected. I believe it was actually around 2020 when I had to work from home, and then I would do more hikes in nature, and starting to see that I kind of developed a lot of like, health issues from like these, from this kind of stress and jobs, and start to look at more holistic methods, like even just going to the woods and hiking, and just, all this regulation, like not veering a little bit away from just going to the doctor or Western medicine, and like seeing that it's really that lost connection with nature to actually be able to find the time. And that was kind of there. And in 2023, I had a major like kind of spiritual awakening. What happened was, I was on this property in Rhode Island. My partner had a home there in Rhode Island. And there was something about this property. We laugh about it today, that I just felt uncomfortable. Like, it wasn't, my house is older, but, it was typical, like, little houses close to the water, and nothing like creepy or weird about this place. And the energy there, I was like, what is it? I just couldn't like put my finger on it. Like, just felt this uneasiness.
Off. Like
just really off. And I couldn't sleep. Like, needless to say, I never slept like a wink in this house. So I started off with like dreams, so I would get these very prolific dreams, reoccurring dreams. And they were so detailed that they weren't like a ordinary dream. So it actually kind of I had all my clairs open up. So I had clairaudience, like clairvoyance, everything, like my third eye, whatever you call it, just totally opened up. So here I am in corporate world, just doing my thing. And all of a sudden I would start to see like, spirit, at night too. And I knew I wasn't like losing it or something. It was a very analytical world. And so that kind of started me on the path, because what I realized, so fast forward, the story that was being told over and over again, I actually got into that. I went to a class to do mediumship because these spirits wouldn't let me rest. Wow. Like the bed was moving, like banging on there. I mean, I was scared. Honestly.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
And there was like literally shadows in the room, like you couldn't see through the corner of the room. So that this is not, and even the smells and things like that. So you couldn't make it up, or you couldn't. So I went to to get some mediumship classes, and like everything I said, they're like, oh yeah, like it was nothing. Like, oh yeah, that's spirit.
It's normal.
It's just normal.
This is George.
So then I realized it's nothing to be scared of. Like, we are like, we're in charge here, on this plane. And it was later on, I realized it was a shamanic awakening.
Interesting.
So the shamanic awakening is usually you could call it many things, dark night of the soul or different things, because it tests you. And there's a lot of little shadow energy.
Yeah.
So shadow is not good nor bad. I learned that too. There's nothing in this world that's either good or bad. There's just maybe more dense or lighter. I've learned this in this work. So these denser energies, I found out, with my analytical brain being in the corporate world, I started going on the web and seeing in the Rhode Island records, what the heck is wrong with this land? So I initially became more of a land healer because this was my boot camp. Later, I found out through my own regressions that this property was my initiation.
Interesting.
Because it showed me all these different energies that I had to work with my own fears, because it would there was a lot of trickster energy and things like that. And there was also lightness too. But because you were so scared from the denser energies, the lightness became, you just weren't sure what the heck was going on there.
Off the side a little.
So I found out that this was traumatized land. I mean, what land in this country isn't? But it was indigenous land that was heavily traumatized. So because of that trauma, it just became like almost like whatever you want to call it. Like there's a lot of crystal in the earth in Rhode Island, a lot of water underneath that they've graded. So that creates a lot of energy, anomalies.
Yeah.
And I found out that land was actually sacred land. Like, so they would do ceremony, because I found out that close by there was like a petroglyph that archaeologists did. And I found kind of figured it out, like this was actually woods before they put houses. So I found out that I kind of fell into like land healing, because I would start what do I need to do for this land? So I was like listening to spirits. I acknowledged your story, because just like people, spirits just want their story to be told. So if you're shining a light out there, they're kind of like, oh, well, I can speak to this person.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
So come to find out that this was Narragansett land, and there was a lot of trauma. And I ended up actually eventually finding the museum down in Rhode Island, and the curators there are very much into land, like healing, but also affirming the land, like doing ceremony there. And so I was able to hear the story from that person's perspective, very active, and saying that they could confirm that, that there's like ancestors' bones everywhere. So the land wasn't really properly acknowledged. So there's a lot of like loose ends.
Yeah.
And so I would do like, work with crystals and rocks and things. And finally, it did have a happy ending because the land kind of freed up.
Oh, like it healed.
It healed. And it was just recently in one of my shamanic trainings that somebody was doing a training with me. And they didn't know anything about me. We did like we do in shamanism, we do like a journey. So you kind of go into sacred space and you do a journey. And we were just doing kind of a, during the shaman Reiki thing, that person didn't know this story and said, oh, in my journey, I saw a native man an offering shell for you.
Oh,
and it's wampum.
Yeah.
And she is from New York, so she doesn't know. And I said, what did the shell look like? They said it was white with purple. And I said, that's wampum. And I knew exactly what it was. And I said, you have no idea, but that means so much to me. Yeah. It's been a year since I've been on that property. So it's them acknowledging that this land, with all that, blessings and, fire ceremony and different things, and kind of like speaking to the spirits, that it's like you were able to kind of offer, give healing.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of story started, with something that was out of fear.
Yeah.
Kind of like literally bumped you out at night. Like you really were on the path and literally stuck like something to trip on in your path, and just, put me on this path where I did, the mediumship, and then the land healing I got into, and then the path of shamanism, and also like how the regression hypnosis is, it's kind of either you can journey or do the hypnosis, different medicine for the same purposes.
Same purposes, yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah, so that's what got me to like doing this healing and trying to offer, and I do some land healings too. I don't really advertise it, but if people say, because I feel like people have to be intentional with their land, and if they don't work on their own things, I can go there and do a blessing, and then the land could just the next day not be
going back to
So people have to work. Land tells us a lot about ourselves. So if we don't, I think it's meant wherever we land, we need to work with our land. I could definitely give some advice, but I think people need to work with their their land.
Yeah, I can see that, especially if imprinting on it. Yeah. What type of practitioner are you?
So I'm a certified master, like shaman Reiki master, and also I do crystal Reiki, but I kind of combine those two with the stone medicine. So I do work a lot with stones and crystals, and I do also combine that in, I guess some people would do, like I have learned also from a healer who was an acupuncturist for 20 years, and then she uses crystals for stone medicine or placements. So instead of using needles, the crystals in those same placements can do a lot of like clearing and helping ailments for the body. So I work a lot with these natural elements, and with different things like plants and flowers, and also I do soul retrievals. So when people feel like there's something, and soul loss is things that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be even when you were a little kid and you got hurt because somebody called you a name.
Mm.
At that moment, it was a big deal to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when our spirit kind of leaves. Like there's a little soul loss there. Like so we kind of, little part of us leaves out the body. So we have around our auric field, these little pieces are ourselves. So what I do is I help, I go into meditation or journey and help bring that back for the person so that they can use their energy.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if we have energy all the way out there, we're not using our full potential.
Yeah, I can see that. Like a piece of us is missing.
Yeah.
What's your spiritual origin story or an awakening moment?
So I would say the awakening moment was that story I just told in 2023. And, as a kid, my parents weren't like ultra like religious. I kind of always had a choice. Like I grew up kind of Protestant, but it wasn't very strict. And I think at the age of 12, I just said, I think I'd rather go out in nature and speak to source. I don't know. I just always felt like, it's all around us. Like in every, I'm spiritual, then, I respect all religions, but I think I'm more spiritual in that, I think everything, animals, trees, everything is connected.
For sure.
And the more that I do the hypnosis work and Dolores Cannon's work, the more I can see how we're kind of all connected through a consciousness. And I think it's very important for these times for people to be aware of that, because our thoughts and what's in our heart, I don't think we realize how powerful beings we are.
Yeah.
Because we literally can change the path of things just through this, not just this, but it's really the heart. This is a very powerful portal.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, human beings, one of the most powerful thing that we have, I don't, know what other people believe, but if we're alone in the universe or not, I know that we have different beings of different light and of different, just through some of the hypnosis work, what comes up for people, past lives, parallel lives, definitely, star lineages and all that stuff. The one thing that's unique about humans is our emotions. And I think we don't tune into that enough, into our hearts. And that's been coming up in a lot of just, in the circles that I'm in, that how just tuning in to the heart is kind of where we're at right now.
I can see that. What's your daily spiritual or magical practice like?
So, it varies, I think, by the weather. When it was like the ice ages here in Massachusetts, I think, it was kind of, I always say spirit always gives us something. It was like very cave-like, we had literally ice castles. So I think I just honored the stillness and I honored what needed to be. And then, I think it really is by season. So now that we can kind of go out a bit, I do have some nature spots that I like to regularly see if it's not daily, weekly, go visit my grove of trees, be still in nature. I think sometimes I will just even, light a candle or, I think it varies on what I need to do or what's happening. I think that's my spiritual practice, is like I don't have something that's regular, but I think I do something regularly. There was a time that I would always like rearrange all my crystals and like say, okay, this seems like the good energy for the day. I think whatever people find, even if you find a rock in your garden and you go to a spot in the corner of your garden. There was a time that's what I did, and I did that even when I was in the corporate world. I found this spot that seemed very peaceful. My dog would come with me, and I would just like kind of just be there. And I think whatever is drawing you, I feel like it's a reason why you're doing that. And maybe you look back on it later, oh well, that's why I was doing that. Or, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it can change as we evolve.
Yeah.
So sometimes that I was doing that regularly. Sometimes I was like, lighting a candle or arranging my rocks or putting them in the, the crystals. Or sometimes it's just even sitting by a tree and just, being with the nature spirits and being with the earth. Sometimes just taking off your shoes and walking barefoot and just tuning into earth or the wind. So
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's kind of
little variety pack.
Yeah, right.
Who or what inspires your path the most?
I've had a lot of good teachers. I've had, I would say like, my teachers, like my teacher Grace, she was definitely important to me to, inspire me to that path and work with me. I think also some of the people I work with, like now there's just so many out there. Like, if we talk about shamanism, some of the greatest writers, like Sandra Ingerman is one of those, I call her OG shamans, like people who are out there in the spiritual world. They know that Sandra Ingerman is she does a lot of courses. But I think every teacher I come in, that I'm working with, I think they, inspire me. But it's very grounded. So it's never like you elevate this person, but it's just to get that wisdom.
Yeah.
So I feel like whoever comes into my path and I'm working with and adding, and also people always inspire me. People who even show up to either, while I'm doing any kind of learning or I'm giving. And, there things, you could do things for yourself, but when you do things for others, like people are very inspirational. Like when they come in and you can see like something they heal.
Yeah.
And I always say that I'm a channel. So I don't, you could say I'm a healer, but I'm really a channel. I channel these energies and help make it available. I'm, if it's hypnosis through voice, but people are really doing their healings. Yeah. So I would say that's inspirational when somebody comes back and says, hey, this really meant something to me, because I'm just relaying messages or I'm giving a frequency, and they're like saying, well, this, like all of a sudden I don't need surgery anymore. My hip is like healed.
Interesting.
I've had people come in, like it's just the body is, not just the mind, but the body and how much we hold it. And that's inspirational because it's that person upholding that frequency. I can do that, but if they don't leave and keep that frequency and keep that mindset, they, that's usually through that, the Dolores Cannon work, She also inspires me too, that she was forever a learner till her death. Yeah. Like, so her books like have evolved. Like she always said she wasn't a channel. She wasn't, have any third eye abilities, but the curiosity and to always learn information, even as challenging it is. She's like, I don't know. I thought I knew everything, but now I don't. Yeah. So you're forever learning. So that's inspirational too. People who are always remain curious and always, adapting. Yeah.
I like Dolores Cannon too. Her stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty profound.
Yeah, especially for the time where she wrote them too.
In the 60s. she followed her. If people don't know her story, her husband was the one who started off as the hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And they were kind of experimenting this, and it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So she didn't publish she said she was the best reporter. She was curious and had good questions.
Yeah.
And so she was kind of, clinical, but she was always curious and open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
But she also said that she didn't publish her first book for 9 years.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been accepted.
The times, yeah, definitely. I can see that. What was your biggest challenge you faced on your journey, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest challenge, I would say, I think it's self-belief. Because I think all of us who are on this path, I think every person can be on the path. Just in the spirit of like Earth is a school. Yeah. And I think now I look at it differently, that I definitely had some challenging times during that spiritual awakening. So I felt like everything was going wrong, in my mind, wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I can't sleep at night at this place. My job, I had, at the time, a very difficult, environment, like somebody was, really challenging me there. And then even in my own home, I just felt like in every direction, it was like everything was moving and it was uncomfortable. And my logical mind wanted to fix it with logics. And the more that I tried to fix it with logics, the more I feel like the universe has a knob. Yeah. Like there's this knob like on a stereo. And when the lesson comes about, I feel like if you didn't learn it, then it comes again. Yeah. And then it gets louder until you're like, okay, I learned it. I got it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I was getting frustrated because I felt like I did all the things, but it was all in logic. So, whether I always felt like I was aware if you went to Western medicine or you did therapy or whatever you did. I says, I digested. I'm a very, I understand it. I'm doing all the things. Yeah. And then you're like, what now? Like something else is coming, right? And there was a time where I just wanted to surrender. And maybe that was the best thing that I did was surrender and say, okay, I give up, but I surrender. Let the universe. And I said, okay, now I'm going to do this differently. And just being opening the heart and trust. I think we don't want to listen to our intuition. We fight it. And I think if you can open your heart and listen, it's the hardest thing. You can't teach this. You can read it in a book a million times and it won't register. It won't register. I think it's something that you have to go through. And when you surrender, then somehow that clicks. Mm-hmm. It's really in the body and in the feeling and able to, I think that's how it's not in the logical mind, it's in the feels. the feels, Yeah. I think that was the biggest challenge, was to change, not the way I think, because again, that's logic. It's just approaching things in a different way. But that was the biggest teacher. Yeah. Of for this work, though I couldn't teach somebody to do it, but I can be there on the path, with the person. Mm-hmm. The fact they come into my door means that they are open to kind of seeing this more feeling thing out of the head and more into the body. Yeah. In the field. Mm-hmm. Nice. You gotta look at things with different eyes sometimes too. Yeah. And it's very hard to do that. Oh yeah.
What tools, methods, or spirits guide your work?
So I feel like energy kind of guides my work because I resonate a lot with like with crystals. Like some people, they pick up a crystal and they don't feel anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I feel something with that. So I'm like, okay, and I tune in. I think my intuition, because somebody could be coming in, say tomorrow, and they contact me. And from like say today till tomorrow, all kinds of things happen. And I'm like, oh, that's for the person. I'm like, oh man, my stomach's a little upset. I'm like, are they anxious? So
yeah.
And then they come in, they're like, oh, well, I had this stomach problem and like this and that and all these things. And I think my intuition is number one in trusting that. And then I kind of see what and that's very shamanic. My teacher even says, like when somebody gets analytical, say, well, how do you do this? You're like, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
That's how do you turn it around? Because if you feel like that this is for the person, like whether it's for Reiki a symbol, I've learned more the crystal Reiki method, the symbols, the energy that comes from the hands, if somebody comes in for a soul retrieval, I do a journey and whatever comes in, and I write that down. It's the intuition. I do have a lot of sight, so I do see. So when that opened up, it never stopped. I mean, now it's more intentional. So I don't walk on the street. I'm not like Teresa Caputo and telling people like. I don't know how she does it. Like, if I wanted to, I can, but that's not my path. Yeah, it's a tool, but that's Teresa's path.
It's funny you mentioned. I just saw a clip, right?
But you know what I mean. Like if everybody's grandmother and everybody, and I can go into journey and retrieve these things, but it's very intentional. Like this person needs this and this, and so I call on my guides. Like so, I have a spirit team. Everybody has one. They could be beings of light. They don't have a name. Everybody has them. Also, in the shamanic terms, they do have like your power animal, your power plant, and different ones come in to work with you. In the Cherokee medicine, you usually work with a plant or animal. And then in the Andean, you work with like different things. Like it could be a different energy, or it could be literally anything. Yeah. The energy of something. So I tend to lean on the intuition, but also work with these different frequencies and vibrations.
Nice.
Or as Dolores would call them, they. And I'm always like, who are they?
What are you talking about?
Who are they? But there is definitely a they. But
it's a different type. How do you stay energetically protected and grounded?
So I think that goes back to like your guides. So definitely when I was in that home or that land, there's different ways you could do it. Bubble yourself, or picture like sometimes what I do is like if I'm dealing with denser energies, like I just kind of keep my sovereign self, and then I always kind of put up a mirror, like in your third eye, a mirror, so that anything that's bouncing off, and sometimes it works all the time, even with people, because people have things in their field. They have
yes,
I call them entities, but they're not what people think. They're just energetic things. They could be from ancestors, trauma, whatever. And sometimes that kind of like comes through the person. Maybe they're not, they don't, when some say somebody like, oh, that person's mean, or they're trying to like project something on you, it's really because they feel a weakness. And so that whatever that is giving them some kind of power. Sometimes just putting up a mirror. So, and it doesn't do any harm, because you're never going to do anything. You don't want to do anything harmful to a person. It's just like saying, I'm my sovereign self, here's a mirror. So if they have to look at their own energy, that sometimes just stops it. When you're dealing with people and their their stuff. Everybody has stuff. It's like you kind of see like a cloud of stuff. Like, like when you go to Market Basket, if you ask any spiritual person, what's the worst place? And we all laugh about it. Market Basket.
Any kind of grocery store. Is it worse than Walmart?
Walmart. And it's sorry, Walmart and Market Basket, but it's like when people go in there, because they're like, they're bringing in all their thoughts, like all their things,
all that imprinting
into the Market Basket or the Walmart. For some reason, it's like I found it to be like So sometimes I'll just even put a crystal in my pocket, or I wear like I have my helpers every day. I have a different like bracelet or something, and I clear them with selenite. I mean, I think it's I do that, and I've been getting better at it, so I don't have to do it as intentionally. It just kind of just happens. I used to have to be like sitting in the car and be like, okay, I'm gonna put a bubble around me, and protect myself from the energies and all the stuff out there. And in my practice, I always, do the, ceremony protocols, like what I need to do I believe in a very clean energy practice. So I would never go out there and work with people's field and not call in the beings of light, theirs and mine, and, create the ceremony space, so that means, whatever you use, Palo Santo or the sage or whatever, you feels right, the spirits of these plants, and kind of setting the intention that this is only for the highest and greatest good.
Yes. Yeah.
I say that it's always good to have a opening and then a closing.
Yeah.
So whoever shows up, thank them and release them.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of, quite recently too, a lot of if they're opening and doing some kind of ceremony or ritual, and they're opening, but hardly ever are they closing or releasing.
Yeah, and that's why it drives me crazy when people start, thinking they can use the Ouija board. Like, that's like a swear word to me.
Yes.
And I'm sure
no one's closing the door.
No, it's like you open the door and all kinds of things can come in. And like I said, it's dense. I'm not going to say it's good or bad.
It's dense, yeah.
It's just, consciousnesses and things that come in, and people, every psychic medium, if you watch ever those shows, those shows are all about fear, because we love to watch what's going to go on in this house, but you open things and people don't know how to deal with them, and there's some very powerful angels and archangels and energies, and they don't know how to work with them, and then they don't know how to
release it. Yeah.
And I find that with some spiritual practices, like as this is getting more, I guess, popular, like I find that even with like just Reiki practice, you are channeling energies, and if you don't, I'm just a stickler for this, like if you don't clean the space between people, because everybody comes with their energetic stuff, then the client comes in, and then the stuff's in the place, either open the window, clear the space, like then I call them the stickies, they're all they're kind of all around.
I picture a bunch of sticky notes.
they're all around. Yeah. So I feel like I believe very much in cleansing. Even when you do hypnotherapy, you're working with a different frequency. The person's working with their subconscious, and you don't always have, you hope that you have all the loving frequencies. Knock on wood, I haven't had to deal with anything that was too
dense.
That's only the land. But other practitioners have had to do that. So you always want to, and that's just because we have, things in our field, things that we
Mhm.
carry. People have traumas.
Mm-hmm.
So you just always want to be mindful to like honor and respect, what's coming
Yeah.
in. And
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. What is one common misconception about your craft or your work?
I think, I hesitated when I put, I thought I was just going to put Reiki out there. But I'm like, because it's really shamanic practice.
Hmm.
And I think people may think it's like, it's not for them. But I think shamanism is for like everybody.
Mm.
I mean, if you have a garden that you love, or you anything that you do, that's shamanism. Like if you're tending garden, like and just dealing with the earth, and you love your plants,
Yeah.
whether you care for them and tend to them and deal with their frequencies, and they're flourishing. That's because you're giving them good energy, or you speak to them.
Yeah.
And they're sentient beings. So I think the misconception is that it's removed. And I think that's what like I said earlier, that every culture had their medicine people or shamans or something. I mean, that was before all the the practicing religions came in. People went to their village person and dealt with herbs and even sunlight or different things to heal. Even just calling on their spirit guides and teams and things like that. And I think that's a misconception, that it's far removed. Or I always get when people come in for hypnosis, I can't be hypnotized. I'm like, well, if you think that, I mean, I haven't met a person who couldn't, but it's, there's this misconception that kind of a us and them. I think every single person who's, walking out on the street, I think they all could, maybe, whether they don't want it or not, they could all like whatever medicine you have to offer, and maybe it's not necessarily mine, but different variations of energy work. I think it's there and it's available, and I think it's important to people, because I think people are sick more now than ever. And I think that there's going to be a point where, yes, it's they take the medicine and things like that, but they don't tune into themselves, to nature. And I think that's the problem. I think we've kind of came away from our villages, and our villages is really our little collective, our neighbors,
I can see that.
The earth around us. Even if you just do a little box garden and tend to that, that's, even, just tuning in. Like, I think it's for everybody.
Yeah, I believe that. Can you share a powerful or memorable client transformation with no names?
Yeah, so I've had so some people came in for different things, and for the shamanic work, I think when people come in and they get like a soul retrieval, they, because we're bringing the energy that they could use, people have transformed even in like one session, where not that they had a drinking problem, but they just said, I don't feel like drinking anymore. Like, not that it was an issue, but they said whatever was driving me to have that one glass of wine or something is like the change in frequency or vibration. And you can't explain it, because it's not like I went in there and intended that.
Yeah.
But just bringing little pieces back for the person, or even reconciling trauma, because I've heard everything under the sun. I mean, everything that's really hard lessons that people had to learn, and even just being able to leave and forgive themselves.
Yeah.
Because some of the things that in the body that they were, whether it was in their, upset stomach or frequent headaches or something like that, it was really trauma. Like, so even things that showed up in the body. So some of this transformation for my clients were that shoulder didn't hurt anymore, that they thought they needed surgery for their hip, and it was just trauma that was living in the body.
Because we just like tighten up.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it was just the body was holding it. So I've had with a hypnotherapy client that literally thought when needed the surgery and was really in a lot of pain, and it went away.
Interesting, huh?
Like totally went away. Was even people get like little like maybe benign tumors or something. They've shrunk in that area. So that was really powerful to realize that this person didn't need surgery in the hip, and that was awesome. Through the hypnosis. And then for the other thing was just in a way that's kind of integrating their piece back, through that being in the regression. So the way that works is that the subconscious will show something, could be past life or something, but it's like our minds will almost like in a dream state, the symbols will figure it out, and then the higher self will kind of give that solution or give that resolution. And then that's almost like in the back of the consciousness, like that's even providing healing, even calling on their spirit team is like helping, but their own body says, okay, I can release this now.
Yeah.
And the same is with, the other work is bringing in the soul pieces, the energy back, and people have, just felt better, like their addictive patterns have stopped. So I would say it's definitely meaningful work that when people can, their patterns of behavior or even something in the body can happen. But especially the addictive patterns is interesting.
Yeah, like you told, like just rewire the thinking, or just even something subliminal that's underneath the surface.
Because what is the addiction? What's causing it? Something way back, and you don't necessarily even have to go visit that spot per se, because in traditional hypnotherapy, so there's traditional hypnotherapy, somebody would be regressed to that spot and go through the trauma, and I don't think it's necessary. You can kind of capture those soul essences and integrate them in however that works on the subconscious level. It spares them the kind of the pain of having to relive that.
It's fascinating. What sacred self-care practices keep you aligned?
So I do I have a spot that I go to like in my woods, like around here. Every spring I go to, I have a tree that I go to. And just, go there and say, oh, another year has passed, and kind of have not a conversation out loud, but like a conversation, and it's kind of like a review of like, well, this, last spring we were here, and kind of in my mind go through, it's like a review, like almost like New Year's, like when people think about like their year, and then you just kind of go through like kind of like your mini little life review, like what we normally do at the end of our lives, but I do it like in little increments and saying, well, okay, what did I learn? And, things like that. And I do that every spring. And I think I mentioned what I do on a daily basis. It really just depends on the day. And we're not perfect. We're not meant to be. So even when, emotions come up or things come up, just being able to honor it and being able to, I think, forgiveness.
Yeah.
We wear a lot of like thinking that we have to be, even in the spiritual world, like everything is sunshine and rainbows, and we all have to be like happy and like, well balanced and everything. But if something comes up, just look at it and examine it, and being able to set it down and say, okay, this is what this is, and then be able to like forgive it. I think that's the way of doing something. For me at least, is to sometimes I just review something and say, okay, I'm not going to judge that. I'm just going to, forgive that for myself, and even forgive other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes people show up and they play a role, and there was something where it was a bad relationship, and I've actually gone back and said, well, if I didn't go through that and that person didn't play that role, and this is one of the hardest practices to do, I've actually went back and, not to the person, but, kind of meditated.
Yeah.
And said, thank you for showing up for that role, because I've now been able to solve X, Y, and Z, or this has helped me because of X, Y, and Z.
It happened to you, or happened for you, not to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's been a eye-opening practice. Very hard to do. It's not something you can really teach. It's something that, and it's hard because sometimes terrible things happen to people, and it's really hard to like say, hey, go and forgive that person.
Well, yeah.
But I think it's not even the person. It's like if you can just look at it from a third person point of view with time, and just say, okay, I understand this situation, and maybe even just forgive the situation, so that you can kind of like move past it.
Yeah, I can see that. What does success look like to you as a spiritual business owner?
Success, that's an interesting word, because I equate that to like my past life. The success looked very different then. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Because I would say it's if I could do things like this, or even my little events I put on, and feel like I put something out there because I feel like I kind of tune into collective, what do they need, and people show up and receive the medicine. I would say that's successful. That it's not even about how many people showed up, or this kind of thing. It's more of you can kind of feel like the people came there and they leave and they got something from it. And I would say that that's success. Like if being able to hold space, channel something, whichever channel I want, I have different offerings. If somebody just even says to me like, hey, this really moved this in me, like, and it's not even about me ego, it's I'm happy for them, but they did the healing, I was just the channel. But I would say that that's I don't think that even just a person even coming in, and even if you're just sitting there and you're just listening to them, and sure, you could do a big ceremony, but the fact that I learned that even somebody coming in, and if they sit and talk to me for 3 hours and they feel better after that, and they feel better, that's kind of a win for them. It's not my success. You're kind of providing a space. I would say as a business owner, if I can just be able to provide that safe space, and be able to hold that frequency for them, and people can come in. I want to make it available. And I guess that's the challenge more, is to be able to have people come in. But I would say my events have all been like full.
Nice.
And I don't always, I intentionally make them sometimes small because I want this and that, like I want this frequency or this intimacy. But I would say as a business owner, if I put something out there and people receive that medicine, then I would say that's success.
Nice. Do you follow the moon, astrology, or seasonal cycles in your work?
Yeah, I do follow both. I could say I've astrology friends that I sometimes lean on and say, hey, today feels interesting. What is going on out there? Because I've had that before. They say, well, this and this and this and Chiron and, and I'm like, okay. But I've, that's something where I definitely follow the moon and I follow this astrology and also, I have a lot of like the sun energy. I mean, at least for me, some people, I mean, I think both have, their frequency, but I've just noticed that, for me, like when we had that big solar eclipse, like I just felt calm. Everybody else wasn't calm, but I was calm. So I think whatever, is in your chart or whatever, however you feel, I try to, bring that energy in. I don't do like astrology work, but I do, I do lean on when I do ceremony or equinox that, that is a portal so that we want to be intentional about it and bring in, kind of, harness that energy of what, we kind of look at like, what is this spring equinox going to be? Like, what do I feel in collective people need? And spring is usually, when you have the 4 directions, spring is usually coming out from the cave. It's renewing, it's planting the seeds. So I kind of follow those seasonal cycles. Summer, it's like, what do we want to ignite? What do we want to, what's happening out there? I kind of feel out in the collective. What do people need in the community to like kind of have the seeds grow, have them ignited. So in that way, I follow the cycles and the different wheel of, what's happening and honor that. In the winter, it's a lot of kind of honoring the ancestors, traveling the cosmos, going within and getting wisdom. So I definitely keep that practice and try to, not for myself, but also when I do like ceremony or like journey circles, I bring that down for people.
Nice. What's something you wish more people knew about energy work, divination, rituals, what have you?
I wish that people weren't so afraid of it. Because I say that because, there was a time, I would even say just last year, where I still did a little bit of my old like corporate job, and I would have crystals in my bag. I would put it under the meeting table, and like and I called that my guerrilla shamanism part, because I would go travel, to Vermont for this job, and I would speak, after work, commune with spirit in the land, leave some crystals. Like sometimes there's some like native things happening over there. And I couldn't tell my coworkers like, oh, like, hey, after this, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go out in the, some spirits are kind of like wandering around and, leave a little offering, a little tobacco, a little something because, they're here on this plane with us. So they would probably look at me like I'm crazy. But I think people always think of it as separate or like it's not that they're scared of it. They're just like, it's kind of us and them. Yeah. And, that's, I wish that people, I think more people are going to awaken in their little increments, and I think people are going to need our help, whatever we offer. Because there's as many healers or energy workers there are, something's going to resonate with each person. So I think it's important to have all the energy workers you can out there to help people with where they're at. And if it's just as simple that somebody just needs a little gentle Reiki or just, something, I think that's helpful. I think people have been just too separated, and I can see that in my corporate life. And I can see how illnesses, not just physical, I mean, I've seen how sick people get, and mental health, but also physical health, and they just get so disconnected. I could just see the disconnection. And I think energy work is one of the things, because, Western medicine is also very logical. Everything is very, logical and prescriptive. And I think it just helps people connect to their own energy and their own awareness, even their thoughts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even when they're having a bad mood, they're like, why, and sometimes I realize that, even the fact that I would bring crystals and put it under the table, I'm telling you now, the meeting went better.
I can imagine. I totally believe that.
No, it's true, because all of a sudden everybody's like, kind of cranky and everything. There's, your common people. I knew it was cranky.
Slab of selenite.
So I just put some crystals on the table, or like, try to like be strategic about it, and then then they would be fine. And then other people are like, oh well, I don't like working with that person. I'm like, oh, that's fine. They're just, you go almost see like, well, that's just their inner child, like you can almost see it,
Yeah.
So I think that, it's helpful. I think even people who, work in those environments, even a little energy work or a little, things like that would just go like such a long way.
Yeah.
Just to make not them just themselves, but the people that's around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can totally picture a giant slab of selenite.
You'd have to clear it very often.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to put the sunlight a lot.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting their path, what would it be?
I would say I gave this advice the other day, actually, because when you start your path, and it may be from a logical place, again, I would say be like gentle with yourself, because it depends on how that path, like some people have this beautiful awakening. It's like, they don't have the dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
They have like, everything is shiny and bright, and that's wonderful. And some people, they have a dark night of the soul. And there's, if they're in that spot, and that's a little tougher, it's, just know that they're guided, that, even in the darkness, there's a lot of teachers, but it's hard when you're in that place.
Yeah.
And you will come out on the other side, but there's a lot to learn in that spot. But it's just, don't get too lost. But there's so many people out there to like just reach out. The community is like, even in our little community here, like there's so many people, like just kind of reach out, like look on Google, finds, if they don't even know where to find people, just find them. We're all kind of connected through the grapevine, or even come into like a shop like this, and just to, start off with like simple things and not be afraid. Just like how I went and I found a shop and they were teaching the mediumship class.
Yeah.
Just to know how to ground, how to not be afraid.
Yeah.
If you have that kind of awakening, and that there's other people. So there was other people in this class. It's like, go find something in the community to do, whatever resonates with you. There's like so many different flavors out there. It's being community. That's my biggest advice, is that there are people like you, and it's a safe space. And I have like different WhatsApp communities that I'm part of, like through different retreats and stuff. And nothing you say in there is crazy, or somebody else has had that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I've had experiences, and then I was in a class, and I'm like, they're like, you too? And there's something that you thought was like, oh my God, that's too weird. And or somebody else will have had that similar experience.
Yeah.
Is to just go and find your community and know that you're not like alone in it. That's what I would say. And if they're just really starting out and they just don't even know what to do.
Nice. Good advice. What magic are you currently brewing in regards to maybe classes you're teaching, events you're doing?
So I'm actually brewing in the cauldron. Hey, I'm Hungarian, so we always cook something and some stew, and so we're always brewing in the cauldron. So for summer, so summer solstice, I'm gonna work, with someone locally. Oh, I'm gonna do it on my own. It's still brewing. It's like just days old. I'm gonna offer, I'll put it out there probably on my Facebook page, so people can find me. How people can find me is it's through my Facebook page, so EtheraWorks Healing. I put it out there, or sometimes people repost it, or on my Instagram. I put a lot of nature photos. But I'm trying to brew. Little gathering for the summer solstice, a little journey circle, but I plan to bring like the earth elements, like people to connect in. So I work a lot with crystals. So I'm actually going to find, get the local stones from our earth and put like the kind of energy and frequencies in there and work with that in the journey circle. I always have my drum and Tibetan bowls, and we'll see what else comes out of it, but also flower medicine. So I'm going to put that out there. That's going to just be a very beautiful, like, opening space. So I know that winter was very hard for people. These times are kind of tough. Maybe it was hard for people to plant the seeds and have them grow, but really to have a nurturing space for people to kind of ignite that growth. And I find that like the journey circles are great. People get a lot out of it, even if they're not like experienced like in meditation or journeying. You have all these elements that support you, and people always get something out of it. So it'll probably be in Sturbridge. I have a friend that has a yoga studio over there, so I don't know if I could say the name, but
you kind of feel it.
Oh, okay. So my collective is my friend's yoga studios. I plan to have something there, and
nice.
I think is it June 21st on Saturday?
June 20th, I think. Yeah. But
the summer solstice. So I'll have something out going in Sturbridge.
Nice.
And that space is a really cool space because she always brings in like different practices. So she has like yoga and sound healing, and even a medium that comes there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I plan to do it there. I try to do different businesses. So for winter I did it at a crystal shop in Westboro.
Nice.
So I try to like support different practitioners and bring some kind of cool event into their space.
That's a fun day.
Yeah.
Now I have some fun questions for you. What is your sun, moon, and rising sign, if you know them?
So my sun is Scorpio. My rising is Leo. My moon is Taurus.
Nice. It's kind of like a bit of a way going on.
Yeah. They're a lot of intense, and they're all fixed signs.
Yeah, going nowhere.
But I'm pretty fluid for all those fixed energies.
Yeah, that's all right. Do you have a favorite crystal or herb or tool that you work with?
So right now, because if you ask me in a couple of months, it might change. I really like quartz, especially Lemurian. It's a great helper. It's a very high frequency crystal, and through the winter, I was, really, doing a lot of journey and intention working with the cosmic energies, and I feel like the quartz is like, it's like high dimensional frequencies, and I really feel like it's very clearing, and it also is bringing in a lot of information for people. So I like Lemurian crystals, and lately I've been using a lot of, people need some grounding and clearing. I've used a lot of carnelian as well. So those are my two right now. My two favorites.
Do you have a magical nickname or an archetype that you resonate with?
No, I just go by Alex.
Alex is your nickname.
Yeah, it's not a nickname, but people call, they always refer to me as, the shaman or whatever.
Nice.
Maybe I kind of like just been like in the group, like the person who does the shamanic stuff. And what was the other question?
And if it was an archetype that you resonate.
Oh, archetype. I've been working, more with the bear frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that came in recently because the medicine I received from the Cherokee, it was the bear clan.
Nice.
So, and my teacher does resonate with bear. But I also worked a lot with the peacock, and that's very and that was kind of retrieved for me. And that's very high dimensional. So that's why in the winter I did a lot of working with the cosmic knowledge, because everyone thinks the shamanism, they always think earth, but we also work with cosmos and higher frequencies. So the peacock has been a helper. It's very Egyptian too.
Yeah.
So a lot of past life things. The peacock, it's a interesting think what they can eat, like poisonous things.
Yeah, I think so. Some of them, yeah.
Very transmute things.
Transportation, yeah.
So and I've been I guess my nickname, or in general, is I'm a change manager. I mean, that's what I did for transformation. So of course peacock. So
nice.
I'm kind of always the person there for the difficult energies and transformations, and I guess that's why I'm here on Earth at this time.
Yeah, I mean, and a little exoticness to it, and you're good.
Yeah,
it's a very gracious and exotic looking and beautiful,
Yeah.
Tea or tincture?
Tea or tincture?
Mm-hmm.
The tea I've been working with in the same lines as peacock is the blue lotus.
Oh yeah.
So there's some great herbal shops in the area. Geez, I could sit here and give all these, there's some blue lotus is like the divine feminine. So I think that's been the theme, in this past, I feel like from last year to this year is the embracing the divine feminine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even for, the divine masculine to be able to embrace their feminine parts. So blue lotus is also, kind of that frequency of the feminine, and also I feel like a heart portal. There's something powerful about the blue lotus. It's the tincture. Yeah, those always vary, but I do like to make like a spray when I can't do like a lot of saging. I use frankincense and like cedar.
Yeah.
Do like a lot of cedar, the cedar spirit. So,
nice. Would you pick tarot or runes?
Tarot, actually.
Yeah.
And I have a deck that it's actually more the Akashic records. That's been,
nice.
You would think the shamanic work, that shaman cards.
Yeah.
Or runes. No, this deck decided it wanted to do the work, and it's the Akashic records.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is a little, things connect to each other, so.
Yep, absolutely. Would you pick cauldron or candle?
A cauldron or a candle? Oh, I would have to say, well, I pick both, but I would say the cauldron because that one shows up for me. So whenever I do soul retrieval, there's always a container that I need to pick. And like I said, my lineage is, the Hungarian, Eastern European. The cauldron showed up.
Nice.
Because, it's the cooking.
The big cooking pot. Yeah.
The cooking.
I love it. If your spirit guide had a voice, what would it sound like?
Oh. Yeah. Probably abrupt, because sometimes I don't always listen. So sometimes I feel like it's like, hey, like you're like, okay, I mean, I listen more now, but I would say my spirit guides, they're very subtle. It's like frequency. So the ear ringing or there's something. I said, well, I wish they could speak, or maybe eventually will, but it's always some kind of frequency or some kind of chiming or something. So I would feel like it would be in that kind of frequency.
See that. Yeah. And do you have any pets?
I do. I have a dog.
Oh, what kind of dog?
He's a mutt. He's a rescue.
I love mutts.
He's I don't know what he is. He's 21 pounds, terrier mix. He's a love bug. That's just if you were sitting here, he would just jump up on you and just smush into you. He's just love and hugs for everybody. That's what he's about.
And is he smart? Terriers usually.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I'd say that he has like terrier-tude.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's selective hearing or listening. So I'm like, he loves the sun. So sometimes I'm like, where's that dog? He's going to come in. Yeah, he plunked himself right there on the lawn. He's not coming, like I'm not moving. Finally, I have to say treat or something, and it comes. Selective hearing.
The magic T word. Nice. So that was all the questions I have for you. Was there anything else you want to talk about?
I think, this was pretty, like a good talk here. I think we've covered everything.
Nice.
I think I don't really have anything in particular that I want to talk about. Just, people can find me around. Mm-hmm. They can find me on, I will get my website up. I've just been intentional about not putting a website up.
Yeah.
I've been kind of more people finding me through the grapevine, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I do have EtheraWorks Healing, like a Facebook page, like, people can find me. And obviously when I do get the website up, it'll be EtheraWorks.com. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it'll be more people to reach out to me and contact me and for consultation. But I feel like people, they come when they're meant to work with you.
Yeah. Yep.
So I would think around, maybe this month coming up, I'll put something out there. I just felt like I need to bake the bread a little bit. Yeah. I know. I mean, that I was just, I did a lot of my own, work and my own things. And I just wanted, your work is always evolving, but I just feel like I needed, I had to think about what I wanted the medicine. So I've been doing it all along so I opened up last year.
Nice. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So it was November. I opened the doors, and December, like people flooded in.
Yeah,
it was interesting because I got a lot of healers that came in.
Sometimes healers need to heal too.
I feel like they were out there for like 7 years, 8 years, and I feel like we're getting into times now that there's going to be a lot more of us that are needed for people. So the people who've been kind of doing it for a long time, so they kind of, I did notice people are either retiring or they're on the rest.
Oh yeah.
So it just seemed to be like all these like different healers that came in, kind of, it's like giving them a little clean and shine.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot, of people needed out there. So
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can put your Facebook link in the description of the video so people can find you.
Yeah.
And go visit her and get some healing, get a session, have a nice conversation. And as always, come see us at Enchanted Dragonfly. We are a metaphysical shop at 99 Church Street in Whitinsville, Massachusetts. And follow this podcast channel, give this episode a like, share with some friends, help us get the word out, and bring on more magical people and share their stories.